Today in the crypto space, we're seeing some green price action throughout the market. Bitcoin currently climbing above the $111,000 mark, up approximately 1.5%. However, right now we see Ethereum showing a bit of strength, causing some of the altcoins to get strong bounces. Celestia, Say, Pump is even moving, and we got many others showing some strength today. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about a project, an OG in this space, and that project is called Injective. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate that strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is, it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here, because we're getting a bit of relief right now at the current moment. Definitely some green. I like to see some green. And, you know, we've been scraping throughout the market in the last little while, trying to find some good projects. You know, obviously, scraping through the top 100 is a good way to, you know, get a sense of the overall market. Like, what are we up to today? You can see the total market cap still at around $4 trillion, slightly below. We're trying to get above the $4 trillion. With this market participation, we do have a fighting chance. Yes, I do realize that we're leading right into the weekend, guys. Happy Friday. The thing is that, you know, occasionally we do get some green weekends. I would love this to be one of them, of course. Generally speaking, weekends are not really the best, right? Usually we get red, at best sideways, and order books are thin. Volatility's crazy. A lot of retail traders out there, you know, during the weekend. So it's not the best conditions. However, guys, sometimes we do get some good green price action, and I'm really interested because it could be that we continue this green into the weekend, right? So right now, personally speaking, it's not time to get totally active, totally into position, but if you do have some positions open, just ensure you give it a bit of wiggle room for it to actually expand to the upside if we continue this price action. Trail up the stop loss, have a defensive strategy ready in place, but generally speaking, guys, you know, when you see green leading into the Friday and, you know, continuing through market close and all of that, maybe we do get some retail price action throughout the weekend that is nice and green. We do see a lot of altcoins right now getting a few little bounces here and there. Nothing major. I'm not over celebrating here whatsoever. But there are some good ones, because we do see a lot of the altcoins in the last 48 hours, you know, showing that horizontal support, that structure. So let's begin by looking at what Bitcoin's been up to. Yes, it dipped. Yes, right now we're at a range lows on this upward sloping channel type of thing, but we're still looking okay. We're still in an uptrend, big picture here on the 1 hour fractal. As you can see, Ethereum but still at the bottom of the range, holding support. You know, as Ethereum holds support, maybe we might see a bit of a rotation into altcoins, other altcoins, and so on. Solana doing okay. It's still within range. It didn't make any lower lows yet, so nothing to worry about. And as we keep on coming down, you can see, like, even Doge looks pretty good, actually, with this rounded bottom scenario. A bit of a retracement coming down, maybe down to the discount zone, 0.5 Fibonacci, reclaiming previous highs and trying to break through. Maybe we get into some sort of consolidation for an actual breakout here. You can see that the market structure is trying to shift with this higher low, and we confirm a higher high as we break the previous tops. If that happens, guys, we can potentially get into an uptrend again, which is great, right? Obviously, that's what we want. Based on the FUD, Justin Sun, I feel like the overall market right now is not looking the greatest based on this. As you can see, Tron is taking a bit of a hit. Could there be a correlation there? Very possible. I don't know, but it could be possible. Cardano right now up 3.5%, guys, looking pretty good. Very similar to the Doge chart. Right, very, very similar, right? So if we look for a breakout on Cardano and a lot of the other altcoins that are showing similar structures, we could definitely see breakouts, right, on some of these larger caps. Chainlink, okay, bottom of the range, not looking the best with regards to market structure, that's for sure. Range lows, you know, lower high. What are we doing here right now? Just be very careful. Chainlink had its moment, right? Profit takers are going to take profit and continue taking profit until fair value is reached, and then we get indications of support and then a reversal. Right now, Chainlink, if you're bullish, DCA nice and slowly, find those points of interest, join the live stream tonight, put the request in, we'll take a look at the Chainlink chart and see what we got. Let's continue going down. A lot of bullishness here. Look at Hype, Bitcoin Cash looking good, Sui's looking great, breaking out, making a higher high here, up 4.2%. Sleeping Giant, I've been talking to you guys about Sui and the fact that it's been quiet for too long and it might, catch some bids here. And it's looking pretty good. H-bar, nice percent, 4% bounce, but still didn't break range. So I'm skeptical here, just based on the fact that it could still stay range bound for a good bit. And as we keep on coming down, you do see some good price action. However, nothing major, 1 or 2% to the upside. What's more important to me when I see pumps of 2% is what's really happening with structure. It's not so much the percentages that I'm interested in, because 2% is nothing. But if you look at even Polkadot, you guys know I'm not a big fan, but if we go up for a higher high, not only do we make a higher low, but if we go up for a higher high, we'll confirm a change of character. And that would be pretty good, right? Or a continuation to the upside. That would be pretty good. That's something that we should be looking forward to. Monero not looking the best. I don't like this rollover here. Looks like a distribution here on the lower time frames. Not crazy about it. Athena's always been killing it for the last little while. Did retrace, but looking pretty good in the next little while. We could continue to the upside and reclaim some of its old price action. Aave, bottom of the range. DeFi, Ethereum. I don't know what's going on there. It is at the bottom of the range. Risk to reward ratio is at its best. If you look at the Ethereum chart, the Ethereum chart is not the best looking. So maybe what's happening now is people worried about, the risk on assets that's associated to the narrative or to the blockchain. And, there could be some weakness right into that, or fear that could be, translating into sell pressure or defensive strategy at the current moment. So I'm a bit worried, obviously, to see if this thing breaks lower lows. But at the current moment, risk to reward ratio is still fine. We did not break below that bottom. And as long as we do not, there's no real reason to be fearful and get overly defensive right now. In fact, it would be smart to get offensive, get into a trade, put a stop loss underneath the bottom, look for those indications, obviously, further confluences on the charts. And again, that would be a good one to talk about tonight at 8 p.m. Let's keep on going down. Manto's looking good. OKB's looking good. BitTensor's looking good. Look at that. Very similar to the other two that I spoke about above. Polkadot and Doge, very similar. Rounded bottom, little consolidations here. Look at this rounded bottom consolidation, cup and handle right into here. Near Protocol, the same thing, cup and handle, rounded bottom, bit of a retracement. Let's get going, right? It looks pretty good, guys. If we get some good green price action throughout this weekend, it could definitely get the follow through out of those structures. On Aptos doing a very similar type of thing, that higher low. Ondo, same thing. We're getting very similar structures across the space, and I'm interested, guys. Definitely interested. And as you know, I've been packing my bags. My bags are at the front door, just in case we get ready to go. I want to make sure that I'm not missing out, but I'm not walking into this without proper risk management. That risk management right now is super, super important. Okay, this is one thing that we got to understand. Risk management is going to save you if the thesis turns bearish real quick. And this market could pivot very quickly. And again, as we lead into the weekend, it's very possible, guys. So although I sound very bullish right now, and it's very clear that I sound like it, and I am, because literally on the lower time frames, we're getting great structures. My defensive strategy is intact. My risk to reward ratio is very clear. And obviously, I'm not willing to put my initial investment, my capital at risk. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Obviously, today I want to talk about Injective. So let's jump right into Injective, see what they're doing here. Got market cap of about $1.3 billion. Pretty good. Fully diluted. It is fully diluted, guys, pretty much. It's a circulating supply that's missing a few tokens. I can imagine that they are caused by burnt or some being burnt, or maybe there's a little bit of dust still that needs to be distributed. Who knows? But ultimately, it's pretty, fully diluted here, which is great for tokenomics perspective. Other than that, guys, it's an OG in this space, and they've been trying to accomplish quite a bit with their L1. And I feel like ultimately these are the projects that withstood the bear market and should get a little bit of attention as we see that capital rotation. So let's see what they've been up to. Let's see. The future starts here. Partners: Binance, Jump, Google, Pantera, Galaxy. Okay, the Google one and the Binance. I'm not sure what kind of partnership they have really. particularly with Google. Usually it's not what we think it is, so make sure you do that deep dive. Maybe go look into what kind of details you can get on this relationship that they have with Google, and if it's, in Binance as well. That sounds more interesting to me, given the fact that they're they're basically in stable coins and trading. Right, let me explain here. The blockchain built for finance, right? Access unlimited tokenized stocks. Is this where we're going to start to see an Ondo scenario, where we're going to see tokenized stocks powered by Injective on exchanges, real world assets and stable coins on the fastest L1? Our EVM testnet is live. So interesting narrative, of course, a hot narrative, right? Real world assets, tokenized stocks, obviously an L1, which is nice, a custom blockchain to house all these initiatives. So these are things that we got to consider. Let's keep on going down. As we keep on going down, you can see that their pinned comment is what I'm going to focus on today. The Injective ecosystem takes a historic step in bringing Injective to Wall Street for the first time. Guys, again, this is like the path that we're seeing many projects right now that are in DeFi. That's what they're trying to shoot for. Fintech, platforms, Pineapple Financial, the ticker is PAPL, PAPL, has launched a 100 million digital asset treasury dedicated solely to the accumulation of Injective over the coming weeks and months. Okay, let's show more. Let's see what else they got here. Wow, they got quite a bit to say here. Months. This capital will be deployed to create the world's largest public traded Injective treasury. Okay, very interesting. We're merging into traditional finance, right? This release will not only enable traditional finance institutions to access Injective via the stock market, it will also allow Injective to bring an unmatched set of tokenized assets to its blockchain, unlocking a truly multi-trillion-dollar market opportunity. Guys, this is a playbook, the Ondo playbook, right? This is something now we're seeing a lot of this happening. The transaction attracted leading investors across traditional finance and crypto, including Falcon X, Monarch, Abraxas, and Blockchain, Canary Capital, and many others, the Injective Foundation, and many others, as you can see. Basically, it's ready to go, guys. Introducing the first publicly traded Injective digital asset treasury. Guys, this is looking good for Injective. They're definitely hitting targets, right? So there's a couple other things that you can talk about, but that's right now what everybody's yapping about, considering that this was released September 2nd. So you can see, and not only is it hot off the press, but it's probably what they're pushing most at the current moment throughout their socials. So go check them out. They're pretty cool. That's a very interesting, initiative, and I'm glad to see these targets being met from a fundamental perspective. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on with the Injective chart. Could we use these fundamentals as catalysts? Could we use this as an opportunity to buy an undervalued project after a massive retracement throughout the bear market? Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Ultimately, guys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these are obviously assets that showed us a lot of strength, particularly Bitcoin, of course. We're seeing a lot of the larger caps, show some of that strength, proof of life, right? Altcoin season being yapped about quite a bit throughout the market. Fine, it is what it is. But ultimately, Injective, where it is right now, hasn't been showing any real signs of strength. This retracement that you can see here, right here at the tail end of this chart, obviously some may argue it's very bullish, right? We're making higher highs and higher lows, and I agree with them. It is clearly a market structure that suggests uptrend, no doubt. However, if you understand, market structure in general, we know that the charts and the price action works in peaks and valleys and ebbs and flows. And at this current moment, we do clearly see that this was an impulsive move to the downside. And this right here that you're seeing at the tail end of the chart is a retracement. Now, it's a retracement. It's very clear a retractive move, very clear peaks and valleys right into here. And, maybe could be a distribution once again. Right, a dead cat bounce. And it's very important, guys, that we talk about our bearish and our bullish thesis. I hope you guys know that I'm bullish. However, we also have to understand that even if you are bullish, you still want to buy a discount, right? You want to buy the bottoms, you want to buy good levels, you want to buy good support zones. So it's very important to always have, despite being bullish, to always have the bearish thesis down pat, clear, and well defined. Right? It's so important. So what am I saying here? What I'm saying is, big picture, guys. we did tap a very nice and very interesting liquidity zone. This order block was one of the most important ones after the impulse to the upside. So this is a very emotional level. This is a very important level. It's a point of interest that should have attracted a lot of individuals. As you can see, this is where we were talking about Injective before the pump. And then after that, it started to explode and it was over. No more talk about Injective. Now, all of a sudden, where we're looking at is where Injective is and how it's retracing and hunting liquidity at the levels of previous points of interest, which is right here. Could we gain some support at the zone? I say yes. However, is it done showing us that the potential bottom is in? In my opinion, no, right? Do you need a little bit more? And based on the position, the current position, it's not a bad idea to build a little bit, because we could melt to the upside given other factors. Yeah, we saw the Injective catalyst based on those tokenized stocks and all that, what I just discussed on X. That is very, very healthy, no doubt. But at the end of the day, guys, if the market wants to melt, it will melt today based on Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other factors that will increase the total market cap in this space. And then Injective will attract some of that capital. That's a different story, guys. And that will be something that a lot of us will be left behind. And if you listen to what I'm saying, I'm literally saying, guys, if you're going to be waiting for another touch of the bottom, it would be the best opportunity to accumulate right into this liquidity zone and hunt that liquidity as people get liquidated, right? That would be the best. But it might leave you behind. You might not get those entries. That's the biggest problem where we are right now throughout this entire space regarding especially the large caps, because if they get the rotation real quick, Injective is not going to retrace significantly. So is it going to hunt trendline liquidity? It's very possible, guys. As you can see, as a retracement has formed, there is a liquidity trapped in this trend line. And it could be possible given the fact that we're below the 200 daily EMA. We are right around the point of control, and you can see a little bit of volume. And I'm going to get into the oscillators right here to see if there's divergence. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum. There's class A bearish divergence on this retracement to the upside. Is there a possibility of a dip where we hunt liquidity at this bottom? 100%, guys. It's possible, right? So this is what I have to, and I put this point of interest a while back, and it's still being respected, okay? So let's see, let's anticipate, or let's prepare for that possibility. The next level of possibility, do we come down to the lows and hunt this bottom? 100%. But I'm going to tell you this, if we break this low, it's going to be a break of structure, and we're coming down even further, and we're going to hunt liquidity where pain is more pain, which is down here at these levels. Could that happen? Sure, but we're decreasing the possibility. I think the possibilities here is that eventually we form enough of a structure into this level that we define a bottom. And that's why I'm looking at, perhaps the worst case scenario could be is that we come down to this level, hunt this liquidity right here, this wick, these wicks right here, and be done with it. Find that support right around here, shake out a couple of people, make this hard mode for a lot of people, tuition fees being paid, and let's get going. That is very possible, okay? Super possible. And that would also give you the confirmation low, the higher low, right? Because as soon as we start building a higher low here and confirming a higher low, we start looking for that confirmation. We start looking for the change of character, the market structure shift right here at the bottom that suggests, yes, this was the pivot that we needed to start to turn the trend to the upside properly, not with a retracement, but with an impulsive move, right? To turn this into an impulsive move, we need a pure melt up. And that happens, right? A very emotional catalyst could cause that to happen. Sure. But if you're looking for a proper market structure would come down and get into some passive accumulation, ideally. Doesn't have to happen, but ideally. And then from there, we come back and test the highs again, and we start breaking this top, getting a confirmation low, higher low, breaking the top and confirming a higher high. Then you start zooming out and you're like, okay, dang, maybe, we flew through the imbalance, right? We flew through this imbalance, and now maybe we get a trend where we're no longer making lower lows and lower highs, and we are actually making higher highs and higher lows. And that could definitely happen, guys. So the bearish case scenario, let's rephrase and let's repackage this idea. If we come down and we hunt trendline liquidity stemming from maybe this bottom, and at worst case coming to this bottom, we will slow and steadily sweep these lows and slow and steadily perhaps show some weakness from the bears and eventually form a bottom. And that would be what I would need. A V recovery, a nice rounded bottom, ideally, maybe not, maybe so. I would be happy to deploy more capital into Injective and DCA further, given the fact that I did buy here at these lower levels. I would happily be buying in once again into these levels. Okay, but that's my fear. Now, what about the bullish case scenario? Right, we gotta entertain that, because yes, the imbalance is here. Yes, we could come down, but what about the bullish case scenario? What about if a Bitcoin, Ethereum, or most importantly Ethereum, starts to run and Bitcoin dominance starts to fall? And I know a lot of people are talking about others starts to break out, and we continue this green, and Injective with its bullish catalyst continues to show strength. Guys, we could definitely continue to the upside. I think that it's highly unlikely given the market structure, but again, it's a game of probability, guys. What I would say is this: if you're going to get into a bullish stance, guys, you have to respect this range, and you have to understand your resistance. Most of it is at about $20 to and 47 cents, more or less. If we can escape this through this imbalance, the next node of resistance, of volume, of emotion, is all into here. And we got multiple nodes of emotion, as you can see, multiple volume nodes right into here that could act as resistance. So melt ups are great, and melt ups usually cause short squeezes, right? And that's another thing to consider. During short moments of a short squeeze scenario, we do see a lot of aggressive price action, in particularly low volume. To be honest, sometimes it happens with a very low volume. So these are very concerning times, because emotions can pivot real quick. So what am I saying again? Resistance is right here. I would be worried if we do melt to the upside. I would be quick to trail up a stop loss, take a bit of profit, do your thing. If you're a trader, you're a trader. If you're an investor, you're going to be hodling through and doing your thing. But ultimately, this is the level that I worry about, right into here, because you can see the bulk of the emotions are right here from the last breakout zone. Okay, so consider that. Now, if we start looking at oscillators, that divergence is still, right in our face. What I also see is the EMA is facing down, red histogram bars not looking the greatest. Obviously, we got a bit of divergence that is trying to get invalidated, but so far holding steady. So it's looking good. But you can see that all of this from this entire region right here is pretty choppy, right? It's very choppy. It's pretty sideways. A nice rounded bottom, a nice sideways price action. You can see this very clearly in the chart. Nice recovery, nice sideways. Do we consider this a continuation to the upside? This is the concern. This is the scenario. Even if we come down and sweep down a little bit, this could still be considered some sort of bull flag where we continue to the upside. And we hunt liquidity. Market makers are happy. People that buy the dip and smart money is happy. And ultimately, if you're in here for an altcoin season, you will be happy for accumulating on a dip. Okay, so that needs to be considered. Let's quickly go down to the 4 hours so we can look at this more at a granular level. Obviously, the lower time frames are there. If you're a scalper, do your thing, of course. But the 4 hour is a great place to start looking for a potential structure. There's nothing really happening here. You could, have an argument that we could be forming a bottom like we've done before on this trend line. It's possible, right? But like on this trend line, we always have these sweeps. We always have these manipulative moments that cause people a lot of pain. Now, did we actually get that yet? I don't see a sweep. I don't see a strong impulsive move with a recovery, a strong recovery. That strong recovery tells me it was a market maker induced manipulative move. Right now, we're not really getting that just yet. Do we have to? No, we don't. That's the truth. Given the fact that the market's a little bit dry in the last little while, it could be passive accumulation that eventually just gets a pump. It's possible. I don't like the fact that we would be accumulating at a level that's in the chop zone without momentum being fully reset. That would kind of bother me, right? Because I would like to see some confidence that I'm buying the low. Right now, there is nothing. Momentum didn't even get oversold. So where am I buying? I'm buying at a level of choppiness, which generally gives you a good level of risk to reward ratio, because you can put a stop loss under the choppiness and hope for the move to the upside. Volatility is pushing up still. Again, without momentum in the same direction, you're not going to get that major move. And ultimately, this is indecisive, as you saw now at the granular level. Guys, this thing is choppy. It's just going sideways. There's nothing here. There's no edge whatsoever. So again, Injective is in a tough spot, because you want to be bullish from a fundamental perspective. You want to be bullish from a chart perspective, but there is still the potential, as I mentioned earlier, for that dip. Let's measure. What kind of dip are we talking about? Coming down here, it's about 30%. That's a big dip, guys. It is a big dip. It's a big dip even to endure on spot. However, if your position size is small and you're committed to DCAing, you're reducing that risk factor. You're reducing that loss factor. Why? Because you know that you're going to be able to drag your average cost down, improve your entry over time, and still have some exposure right now, just in case this thing decides to get a bounce, and just in case, we begin this altcoin season. Again, guys, it's all about timing, and timing the market via price is very difficult. Timing the market via liquidity is a lot better because you know where the liquidation's at based on volume and emotions and price action. At this current moment, guys, we should be looking for DCA opportunities injective. Personally speaking, I am not getting all in, as I already mentioned. If we do come down for a dip, I would be happy to deploy more capital. But unless that happens, guys, I'm going to have to stick with what I have because I don't want to overexpose myself. And most importantly, I don't want to increase my position size without improving my average cost. That's very important for a trader because what the mechanism is for deploying capital for DCAing is not only to improve your position size, but to reduce your average cost. That's really what I want to achieve here. Okay, guys, so that's where we're at, guys. Injective is looking good fundamentally, chart-wise. Zoom out, spend a second, zoom out. You're not buying tops. You're not buying the absolute bottom, but you're definitely buying a decent retracement big picture. Do we go for one more impulsive move or an attempt, a swing failure where we make a higher low and then break above this top and make a higher high and start to trend to the upside? Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip. Thank you.